Civic patriotism, also known as civic nationalism, is the idea that as long as someone chooses to join our national life, that they obey our laws and sincerely attempt to fit in, then they are as much an Australian or Canadian or German as someone who was born there. In the United States, is also known as the propositional nation. Unfortunately, there are a number of problems with this idea. In Australia, I have heard Australians refer to it as meat pies and football. A stereotypical Australian likes meat pies and football, a stereotype that's true. So even an immigrant also likes meat pies and football. He's just as Australian as anyone born here. But what happens if meat pies and football become unpopular? Or if someone born in Australia doesn't like meat pies and football? Does that mean neither of them are Australians? The problem is that meat pies and football are simply random items, and what they symbolise here is that being Australian means nothing, like a meat pie, being Australian, is manufactured. Why would an Australian be so eager to destroy their own ethnicity? In a word, pride. To know that someone came from another country and has tried to become one of us shows how tolerant we are, how open and accepting, how great our country is because others want to share it with us. But what happens when people arrive who aren't that interested in our ways, but who wish to keep their own ways? Well, civic patriotism seems to embrace these people as well. They are go-getters. They're the type of people we want in this country. They want a better life. In time, they will be part of us. Not a thought in the world about their fellow Australians who need those jobs. Not a thought in the world for their fellow Australians who need to get ahead. No, those things have been reserved for immigrants. The civic patriots that aren't that interested in their fellow Australians, as they don't make them feel proud. Their fellow Australians are an obligation, a burden. Of course, the civic patriot will one day find that a fair number of those who he supported coming here will also be a burden. That tends to divide them. Some realise that civic patriotism is a dead-end street, but others push on, telling their fellow Australians that they are not accepting enough, that they need to embrace more diversity. More is better. Only racism stops them from integrating. No amount of ethnic tensions, no amount of terrorism, no amount of crime seems enough. They remain true to their ideal, that meat pies and football can create the best nation on earth, that it can create a multicultural utopia right here in Australia. And all they have to do to create this utopia is destroy white Australia, reduce us to a minority while pretending that we have all of the power. They went from being friendly to newcomers to betraying their own family, all in the name of pride. When the immigrant population was small, civic patriotism made some sense. Now it's threatening to destroy us as a people. It's treason.